Welcome to the Book Club Life. I'm Jenny Snow, your host, and today I am so excited to bring Michelle Griep onto the show.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been a long-time viewer of the show and listener, you may already know her, and if you're already a fan of Michelle, you know her. But will you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who are brand new to Michelle Griep?
Absolutely. So I write historical romance with a healthy dose of mystery and intrigue and, of course, action. So I like to keep a reader on their toes just because I don't want to get bored. So I don't want my reader to get bored. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love so many of Michelle's books. So our first episode a while back was The Noble Guardian. Loved it. This series is totally different, but it is so captivating. And I'm wearing, you can't see it, but I'm wearing my fall shirt because I think these are perfect for any time of the year, but especially
fall.
For fall. So I'm going to release this in the fall. The Monsters and Men series, you're inspired by...
I feature a different author actually every time as a just a sub character in the plot. So
far they've been like Dracula.
Right. Yeah. First book was Lost in Darkness, where I had Mary Shelley and her Frankenstein monster. And in Man of Shadow and Mist, I'm featuring Bram Stoker as a side character, and with his inspiration for Dracula. And there will be a third book. I don't have a title yet, but it will probably be something about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I've loved about this series is I am familiar with those stories, but only by reputation, name, maybe a few seconds of a movie that I just wasn't interested in.
Right.
So this is giving me my learning a little bit about it, but with a story that I'm much more invested in, and you do a really good job with it. So Michelle is a Christy-Award winner and several awards, many accolades, but tell us just a little bit about this one in particular.
Okay. So this one is about someone who's near and dear to my heart, which is all of you librarians out there. So the heroine, Rosa, is a librarian. She works in a subscription library with her father, and enter the deep, dark, handsome, mysterious hero who comes over on a ship and just so happens to land before all this big, thick mist comes in. And he is coming from Transylvania, but he's also a baronet in England. So he's got dual titles going on. And of course, he comes at an inopportune time when there's some sheep that are getting killed. And so he gets blamed for that. And he actually gets blamed for being a vampire. So, who's she going to fall for? The vampire, of course, right?
Yes, of course. And I will say, I noticed a little bit of a Beauty and the Beast vibe.
Yes.
Did you do that on purpose?
I did.
Okay. And I just got to show you this cover. Isn't that just gorgeous? Yeah, totally. Man of Shadow and Mist, and it's actually sprinkling a little bit.
It is sprinkling. It's perfect.
So it's perfect.
I know. I'm waiting for the mist to roll in.
Yes, we're right in front of the Mississippi River at the Mississippi River Readers Retreat. So yeah, perfect setting. So let's dive right into the book club questions.
Let's do it.
We'll do some serious ones and then some fun ones at the end.
Okay.
So here's a quote from the book. Coming home ought to be like shrugging one's arms into a well-loved coat, one that molds to the body from so much use. Familiar, warm, an embrace that sets to rights an overly harsh world. And I loved that quote for several reasons. But I do try to make my home a haven for my kids and my husband and myself, really. Just a place where we've done our work for the day. Let's come home, let's relax and rejuvenate. So I also know last time we recorded an interview, you were in the process of moving. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you think home should be, and how do you make it that? And how is everything going with your new home and all of that?
So I think home should be, our world is it's just hard. It's so stressful out there. So I think home needs to be a stress-free zone. And for me, like clutter makes me stressed out. So I try to keep it as clutter-free as possible, but yet I want it to be cozy and home-like.
Right.
So decor is important to me, which my husband gets tired of that word. That doesn't go with my decor if he leaves something on the table.
Okay.
But so I suppose that's not very stress-free, is it? But other than that, I do like to keep it a stress-free zone. Make it welcoming. I have like soft music on in the kitchen all the time, and
nice.
have like little night lights all over. So it's just a soft
Oh,
glow.
that sounds pretty.
So yeah, that's home, and I am loving, absolutely loving living this country life. We are out in the middle of nowheresville, literally, in southern Missouri.
And you have chickens.
I have chickens. I have a new puppy.
Oh, a new puppy.
I do have an outdoor cat, which is a new experience. I've never had a cat, but he does self-identify as a dog, so I love him dearly.
I had an outdoor cat growing up.
Did
he
you?
was the best.
Yes.
And he would come when I called him just like a dog.
Yes.
You know, just
Yep.
That's
him. That's him. So yeah, I am loving this country life. Garden's going great. Pickling like crazy. Canning like crazy.
What's your favorite thing you've eaten from the garden?
Oh, I tried something new this year.
Okay.
Eggplant.
Eggplant.
I have never done eggplant. I sliced
How do
it
you
up
cook
and
it?
grilled it with olive oil and basil from my garden, and then sprinkled Parmesan on it.
That sounds delicious.
That was
and
so
you feel
good.
really good eating it because you're being healthy.
I felt healthy, and it was yummy.
I love it.
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So here's another quote, and it's interesting because it was said by somebody who was not my favorite character, but I also didn't totally disagree with her.
Okay.
So she's telling, Rosa's mother is telling her, the duty of a young woman is the rearing of the next generation for the greater good of mankind. Surely you can see my sacrifice was worth the death of my own dreams. So I may not totally agree with everything, and she's definitely not a character to emulate. But I just wanted to ask you, what do you think of that quote? And do you agree or disagree with her advice, and how?
Okay, so I'm kind of like you. I'm right down the middle of the line with her. That, yeah, I think it's important as a mom that you do sacrifice for your kids because you're their mom, right? So you have that short window of time to rear those kids and train them up. And so I wouldn't say you need to give your dreams the death of them.
Right.
You don't need to kill them, but you might need to put them on hold a little bit.
Yeah.
So for me, how that worked was for writing, I saved writing for just one night a week.
Okay.
And I would run away to the library and write. So still have that dream. It's important to keep yourself and keep your own dreams, but you do need to be there for your kids.
Yeah.
You just need to be there. It's not quantity versus quality. It's both.
Right. So I love that.
Yeah.
It is both.
It is both.
And I would never want my own parents. I would never want to feel like they cared about their dreams more than they cared about me. That just wouldn't make me feel very loved. And so I would never want to do that to my children either.
Yeah.
Like, no question. You're more important. I love you more.
Yes, exactly.
But then also, being a good example of how to follow your dreams and do that. And I like what you said about once a month. Something that helped me a lot when my little kids were very little. I think it was Beth Boat that actually said it in an interview. And she said, if the writing is not on the front burner, you can put it on the back burner and just give it a stir every now and then so it doesn't dry up or burn or whatever.
It's not going anywhere.
Yes. So I thought that was good. Yeah. And then there's been a lot of authors that have taken a break when they needed to for whatever reason.
Right.
That's good. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Here's another quote that I had written down that I like. How gracious, how endearingly patient with her family's pokes and prods. She would do well to learn from him and not be so quick to think the worst of her mother and sister. So this was Rosa seeing the main character treat her family, who's very difficult. Some of them are difficult more than others, but he was treating them so graciously, and not just because he was trying to make a good impression, just because he was gracious.
Right.
So do you tend towards giving the benefit and seeing the best in people, or being a little pessimistic and seeing the worst, or somewhere in between? And what are your thoughts on judging people for their judging people's motives? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as much as I would like to say I am the most kind and gracious person you've ever met, you would not want to see inside my head, because I think the worst things about myself, about everybody around me. It's like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with my mind? So I would be probably more prone to be quick to judge. Although I have gotten to the point where I'm like, stop it, girl. That's not how you should be thinking. So, and I tend to be definitely more gracious with others than with my family.
Okay.
So I am quick to, I would be quick to give you the benefit of the doubt, but if you were my husband, no.
Yeah, you did it on purpose.
Right. Why is it so hard with the ones we love the most? I don't know. So I think it all comes down to in 1 Corinthians 13 that, we need to love unconditionally and think the best of others, not think the worst. And so as long as I stay on that track, life
That's
is
good.
smooth.
Unless they prove you otherwise. And then also, I think it's okay to keep in the back of your mind, it's possible that you're the worst. You know, that's how you protect your families. You're probably a great person,
Right.
but in case you're a pervert, I'm not going to just give you total access to my kids.
No. It's not even trust but verify. First, I want to verify.
Yeah. I'll think the best of you, but I'm not just going to give over my heart, my life, my family, you know, whatever the situation may be.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. That's good. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So another motherhood quote. There was a lot of family dynamics in here.
There were.
A lot of family dynamics actually with both characters. It was very romantic. So I read your other one, the first one in the series.
Lost in Darkness.
Thank you, Lost in Darkness.
Yep.
And it was so good, it actually made me cry. Comes with a little tissues,
I should
chocolate
send
with the
Kleenex
book.
with it.
It was so good, I loved it. But I only say that because I think I love this one even more.
Oh my!
And
Thank you.
It was so beautiful.
Oh,
it was just such a good romantic story. So yes, there is the gothic factor, and you know the town is very superstitious. But it was such a beautiful romance as well and love story. So, okay. So the main guy is meeting the main girl's family. And I'll just go ahead and read the quote. Go for it. Still, he'd have been disappointed had she not queried him so pointedly, for a mother bear ought to be protective of her cub. So he was noticing that they were like really asking him lots of questions and maybe some even inappropriate questions that was too early to ask. But he didn't mind. And so I believe that at least one of your kids is married. So did you and your husband query their spouse before they were married? And what's your advice for the my kid is really serious about somebody stage of parenting?
Yes, well, you might not want to do the same thing we did, but so 3 of my kids are married now. Okay. And we just had the best fun with this. So my husband has this 1,000,000-watt flashlight. It's like this big around. It's like a spotlight. And so once we know our kids are really, really serious about this and, you know, they are starting to talk about marriage, it's like, okay, it's time for you to have them over for dinner. And they know what dinner means. So they and their prospective other get to sit on stools in front of all of us who are on the couch and all half a semicircle around them. And then we shine the spotlight on them. And we can ask 2 questions.
Literally the spotlight?
Literally. Okay. Shut off all the other lights.
Okay.
It's like an interrogation. Shine the light on them. And then everybody in the family gets to ask 2 questions. Anything. Nothing's off the table. We can ask them anything we want to.
That's good.
And so it ranges from serious to ridiculous to embarrassing to whatever you're feeling like asking them.
I love that.
And if they can survive that, then you know they're meant to be part of your family.
Yeah.
So that's how we do it.
Yeah, that's good. You gotta have the courage to say, yes, this is who I am. I'm ready to answer the questions.
Well, and
I'm not hiding.
Then they know what kind of family they're getting into,
that's
right?
true. And they can be like, this is not for me,
so
or
exactly.
I can handle this.
If they can make it through that, they're in. So
once they're married,
yes.
Do they then get to be a part of the questions?
They do. They do, and they love it. They love it.
Well, like, let me tell you, here it comes.
Exactly. So I've only got one son left to marry. So if he does get married, she knows what she's getting into.
Okay. Oh, so he's dating somebody.
He is dating somebody. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see.
All right. Very good.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Now here is a very serious part of the book. The main character has an illness that's unexplained, and he's trying to find a cure. And I really related to that just because of some of my past. But let me read the quote and then ask you the question. Okay. I am at a loss, Lord, to heal my mother for myself. Oh, and his mother is also has the illness. I am at a loss, Lord, to heal my mother for myself. Perhaps I have been a fool for trying, for are you not the great healer? And so here now I surrender at last to your will. Heal or not. Either way, I shall continue to trust in you, for it is you alone who numbers our days, not me, not medicine, not even the cursed disease that haunts our family. Give me the wisdom to create a cure, or give me peace, for I cannot live like this anymore. Bring to me what I need, Lord, to carry out your will. And then, okay, it goes on, but I'm going to stop there.
Okay.
I guess I wrote a little bit too much, but it was really good. So he's basically saying, I surrender this to you, but he's not giving up necessarily, but he's saying, heal or not, it's yours to decide. I'm going to trust you either way. And I think a lot of people have had to come to that position. So I was going to ask you, have you or a loved one ever faced a really difficult health challenge? And then how did you deal with it? Is it resolved? Is it ongoing? How did you?
Yeah. So this is like a very personal scene for me, especially with the whole mom thing, because my mom did die and she had dementia. Okay. So it was a long, slow process of her going through this. It just took years, actually. So I had to come to that point of, how do I let go of her?
Yeah.
So I had to wrestle that out with God. And so, yeah, that's why I wrote that particular scene, because people do struggle with that.
Right.
Everybody's got somebody they know that's going through something hard. So, yeah.
With my own, I'll just tell too, once my mother-in-law was struggling with cancer, and there was this moment in church we were singing a song, and she had fought cancer many times and beat it, but just in the middle of worship, I just had this thought, she may not make it this time. Of course, I didn't say that to anybody, nobody, and I just started bawling, and I was just like, God knows, we all go at some point, it's up to him. And that was really hard, but also just, I totally trust the Lord, And the other one was my son, and he was very sickly when he was little. And it was a years-long process of getting him healthy. And just over and over, actually, every time he got sick, I had to re-surrender, because I just wanted to sink down low and just I felt so sad, and like, I can't even go to sleep until he's okay.
And it's scary.
Yes, it is scary. But in that situation, little by little, he got stronger, and God just gave us, directed us to people that had good advice and good doctors and nutritionists, even like healing the gut and just all kinds of stuff. But he is super strong and healthy now. And then another thing I just want to say about my mother-in-law that helped us when we were grieving her, somebody said, be thankful for the years that you did have. And that really, and some people say don't ever give advice to grieving people. And I guess you just have to hear the Lord on that. I'm not big on social media advice. Just listen to the Lord for yourself. But in that instance, it really did help me and my husband, because we were like, that's totally true. She could have passed away at any of the other cancer things. And we got to have her for this long. And I'm so glad, she was a big reader. We were good friends. I love her and I miss her and look forward to seeing her again in heaven one day. But
well, it's a good reminder to live in the moment now when you're with somebody, just be present with them.
Yes. Every day is a gift for sure. So I wanted to say just good job on this novel. It was so vivid. We're about to move into the just for fun questions. But first, if you are enjoying the show, would you give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube if you are watching there? And if you're on the podcast, I would love it if you would take the time to go and give it a rating. Just so that we can get those reviews up there and people can find the show. And I don't think I remember to say this at the beginning. I'm so sorry. But Michelle has offered a book as a giveaway. So go ahead and go to the show notes and enter the giveaway. You can also find it on jennysnow.net. The most recent blog will have it up there. So the speed round.
Okay.
Here we go.
Off the top of my head.
So what do you want on your epitaph? And if I'm saying this correctly, because it's different than epithet, that's like a cuss word.
You did it. You did it correctly.
The epitaph is what you put on the tomb, right?
On the tombstone.
Yes.
Yep, on the tombstone. Yeah. I think I'd want, what do I want? She lived large and fierce. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah. Just because I want to.
I love that about you.
I want to grab life by the throat and just, shake it for all it's worth while I'm here.
And enjoy it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay. So, Gothic book. What's your favorite scary movie?
Okay, favorite scary movie. It's an older one now. It's, I don't know if you call it as scary, but Signs.
That was such a good one.
I know. I used to watch that. Okay, this is weird. So my husband used to work at a bank, and I'd have to iron his shirts, which was a pain. So I would always put Signs on whenever I was ironing and just rewatch Signs. I don't know what that was all about, but Signs was my thing. But yeah,
I saw that one by myself in the theater.
It's kind of creepy.
Really good. It was creepy.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
I know. I like that one.
Another one I loved was The Village. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have seen that one. Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was good.
Mhm. That was good.
Okay, last question. What are you working on now?
Oh, so much.
Okay.
Oh, so much. Okay, let's see. My next release, though, will be the third in the Blackfriars series.
Okay.
So I'm doing The Sleuth of Blackfriars
Okay.
Lane, where Kit is going to open up a detective agency with her father, who is a retired police sergeant.
Awesome.
And have you seen Miss Scarlet and the Duke?
I've only seen one episode.
Okay.
So
you need to
I
watch
thought it kind of had that vibe to it.
totally has that vibe.
Okay.
Totally
I do
has that
need to
vibe.
get back to that one.
Because being a female detective in Victorian era does not fly.
Yeah.
So I thought that'd be fun to play around with.
That is fun.
Yeah. So that's what's up next.
Okay, very good. Well,
All
Michelle,
right.
thank you so much
Thank
for being on the
you.
show.
Thank you.
And yes, thank you guys.
Yeah.
And see you later.